Arizona has about 396 square miles of water, which means less than 0.5% of our entire state is submerged. We do live in a desert, but that doesn't mean we don't have shorelines or beaches or plenty of waves to rip.
Hi everyone, I'm Robin Sewell. Welcome to Arizona Highways Television.
Today we are exploring both the wide open spaces, the tiny nooks and crannies,
it opens up new opportunities,
and some hidden gems.
It was super cool, just a nice little find.
And remember, it's not quantity that counts, it's quality. So we better make every wave, every turn, and every splash count. On Lake Powell, you have plenty of options to play and explore, not just on the water, but in the hidden canyons and coves. And there are plenty of toys to help you make the most of it. At Antelope Point Marina, you can rent everything from houseboats to jet skis, power boats to kayaks. Each one will give you a unique way to explore the canyons and experience the lake and its shores.
It's kind of fun going in the narrow places, just kind of cruising and checking out the canyon walls. That's a really fun part about going in the narrow places. But by far, if you just want to rip it and have some fun, the wide spaces are where you want to do it at.
You can even rent several watercraft at once to make the most of your visit. This houseboat will let you cruise and relax, while jet skis allow you to cut loose or cut free and go deeper into the canyons to explore places you can't always reach with the bigger boats.
It opens up new opportunities. So when the water level drops, you might have different kind of canyon area open up to you, or when it rises, different kind of canyons will open up to you. It just depends on what kind of canyon you're going in and what time of year it is, really.
We are tagging along as Elijah Silver and Taylor decide to head deeper into the canyons to see what's beyond the twists and turns of these sandstone walls.
We came into this canyon and literally towering walls around you. At one point, the jet skis couldn't go any further, so we had to disembark, and then we walked further into the cave. The water was about to our knees, and then coming into this dark hole in the wall and just walking through that with the different colors and shades of brown and green around you. It's really something.
It's really nice because there's always something back there, whether it's a little arch, or it doesn't even have to be a cave if it's just almost this grove of little trees. You're like, what are you doing out here? This is a lake, a desert. You're not supposed to be here. There's always something at the end of one of them. Everyone's kind of unique, and there's always something different that's special that you get to see about them.
It's an adventure. You get to see something that a lot of people don't get to see, because if you're on a boat, you can't really get back there. If you're on a jet ski, there's more accessibility to there.
Letting you map out your own unique experience and discover some of Arizona's best kept secrets. Arizona Highways Television is brought to you by Arizona Public Service and the Arizona Office of Tourism.
Getting on the board the first time was pretty difficult. You fall off a few times, but it's all in good fun.
And you eventually get the hang of it.
But once you're standing up, it's a breeze.
Paddleboarding and kayaking are some of the best ways to really take in Lake Powell. It's also the perfect place to play. With their houseboat anchored, the shallow shoreline is the best place to learn how to balance by yourself or with a co-pilot.
I'm kayaking right now, and kind of hard because it's two-man kayaking, so you have to be kind of in sync with the other person that's paddling so you don't roll over because they tip kind of easy.
They also have to watch out for the wakes caused by the bigger boats At least they don't have too far to fall. But there are other ways to make a splash here on the lake. Take an easy slide off a houseboat. Or, if you really want to work for it, you can climb up a sheer wall to a narrow ledge, gather your courage, hold onto your swimsuit, and jump. When you shore up, you practically create your own private resort. You can sleep on the houseboat or set up a tent and camp out. Relax, swim, or try something new.
I tried surfing. Not too good at that. I've tried wakeboarding, also difficult, but yeah, I feel like I'm getting a little bit better.
You're the activities director, whether you plan to stay a week, overnight, or just a day.
I definitely think there's plenty to do out here all day. If you have a boat, obviously it makes things easier, but even if you just have a houseboat or a boat you can just anchor up, you can lay out, there's volleyball nets you can set up, beach ball, whatever you want to do. But definitely plenty of stuff to do for a day. Just bring enough sunscreen.
And don't forget your spirit for adventure. Arizona Highways Television is brought to you by Arizona Public Service and the Arizona Office of Tourism.
Just a couple hours south of Tucson, you can birdwatch, rent a boat, even take a twilight cruise.
Don't let the dirt trails and cactus fool you. There really is water over them there hills.
When people come here the first time, they just are blown away by how beautiful it is being so close to Tucson in the desert area. A lot of people call it the hidden gem of southern Arizona. The lake is actually 265 surface acres, which is about 2.5 miles long.
Surrounded by the Santa Rita and Patagonia Mountains, Patagonia Lake is man-made, created by the dam built over Sonoyta Creek.
We're one of the largest bodies of water. We actually are the largest body of water in the southeast within the next 100 miles that actually allows water skiing, wakeboarding, and tubing. Half of the lake is a no-wake zone, which makes it really nice for fishing, kayaking, and canoeing.
And it's prime fishing conditions even for the wildlife. But looks like this is more of a catch and release. Whether you prefer people power, horsepower, or wind power.
That bridge is so awkward to walk because it was intended to allow sailboats through.
Patagonia Lake State Park has plenty of options and amenities.
We have 120 campsites. 105 of those actually have electric and water. So most of our campsites are available for trailers and RVs, or if you just want to charge your cell phones, just to make it more comfortable.
And having electricity means I can plug in my hairdryer.
Our shower houses, we have one on both sides of the lake, the east and the west side, and each of those has hot running showers, not just the push button kind, but the kind you can turn on and take a nice long warm shower, which is very nice when you've been camping all day.
The comforts of home right on the waterfront. But even though you're miles away from the city, you can still run into a traffic jam. But it's the kind of gridlock you won't mind sitting around waiting to clear.
2 weekends ago when we came out, there were 8 great blue herons in this last cottonwood tree over here. Yep, there's a great blue heron on the left-hand side of that tree sitting on a nest that's built. See it. First one that I've heard of in the park.
Arizona Highways Television is brought to you by Arizona Public Service and the Arizona Office of Tourism. If you're a hiker, there is always one way to keep the challenge fresh. Get up to the top faster. Like in under 20 minutes? Like Dave?
That's so fast, 19 minutes off the mountain. Now, when you're 19 minutes up the mountain, are you walking at all, or are you just hauling butt running?
I just call it kind of a run scramble. So On the sections where it's flat, you can run it, and then on the steeper technical sections, it's just a fast scramble.
Okay. All right, now what about coming down?
Coming down, you know, I've done it so many hundreds of times that I have a route that I take down, and I've kind of memorized every rock on that route. So if there's erosion that takes place and a rock's moved, I know it's, you know, I know it's been moved on my route, so it's going to change my route a little bit. But
And how long does
on
it
the
take
way
you to
down,
get down?
I can get down in under 10 minutes.
In under 10 minutes. So you can go from the top of Camelback, and how many miles up is it?
1.1.
1.1, top, very steep, and you can get down in how many minutes?
Under 10.
Under 10. Okay.
For many, reaching the top is a goal. But for others, hiking the mountains becomes a life changer.
Somebody my age, I'm going to be 74 in July, and if I didn't hike all the time, I don't think I would have the quality of life that I have.
For Grandma Sandy, it's never been about speed.
How often do you climb it?
Well, for a while there, I was doing it every day, but then with the grandchildren and getting them back and forth to school and everything, so I'm just here about 5 days a week.
I know, but 5 days a week or every day, that's quite a bit.
The people are the favorite part. The mountain itself is just an art gallery for me. Everywhere I look, there's beauty. Look at it. Look at it yourself here.
It's
just
amazing.
gorgeous.
It is so gorgeous.
Even when you come up here in the clouds sometimes, even when you come up here in the clouds and the rain, or sometimes it looks like a muddy river coming down the thing. Any condition I've been here in, I've always felt so blessed to be able to go.
Has it gotten tougher over the years?
Well, age-wise, I don't go as fast as I used to. But no, because you know what I do, honestly? Once I get to the top, it doesn't matter. You know, that's my thing. Hi, sweetie.
Camelback Mountain has two major trails. The one is called Echo Canyon, the other is Cholla. As a person starts up the trail, it's a very difficult trail. It's a double black diamond. As they go up, there's 3 different challenges: handrails, and big boulders. On the boulders, you're going to be on your hands scampering trying to get to the top. On the other side, the Cholla, it's more gradual, it's full sun, there isn't any shade, so it's very difficult in the summer.
It doesn't quite have the landmark status of Camelback Mountain, but right over my shoulder there is Piestewa Peak, and the length of the trail and elevation is almost identical to Camelback, but the character of the mountain is completely different.
There tend to be people who are Camelback people, and there are people who are Piestewa people, and they'll defend their mountain to the death, right? And technically they're both about the same distance, about the same elevation gain. Personally, I think Camelback's a little bit tougher because there's not an established trail all the way up. Going up Camelback, coming up through Echo Canyon, you have to do some bouldering, and you have to, you know, hang on to some rails in different parts of the trail because you're on slick rock. Piestewa has a more established, you know, actual footpath.
On either mountain, keep an eye out for the critters.
Rattlesnakes. You know, we do have a lot of rattlesnakes. It's the time of the year where the rattlesnakes are starting to come out. So what we would ask is people pay attention to that. The rattlesnakes are going to want to leave you alone. Ideally, as you're heading up the trail, if you're a fast runner and you're running on our different trails, be aware that they could be crossing the trail. They're going to hear the pounding of the feet. They want to get away from you. The bees are Africanized here in our state of Arizona. So normally what a bee's going to do is they're going to give you a little bump. If you feel a bee bump into you, that's their warning. We do list on a map where the beehives are. However, bees do move. They can travel 1.5 miles for water. At our drinking fountains below us, they often come and drink. We also have some hidden little water sources, so they'll leave that area alone.
But by far the biggest trouble you're likely to run into on the mountains is a fall. The Phoenix Fire Department keeps this team trained for the mountain rescues. This determined hiker is a bit dazed after falling twice, once on the way up and again on the way down.
On your pace, okay, sir?
They're checking him out, and he is feeling strong enough to get to the bottom on his own 2 feet. But when we come back, bigger trouble and bigger challenges. Arizona Highways Television is brought to you by Arizona Public Service and the Arizona Office of Tourism. You can twist an ankle climbing Camelback, or sometimes a lot worse. For this hiker, it's actually a broken ankle,
But TRT is on the scene. That's Technical Rescue Team, medics from Phoenix Fire Department who train for these mountain emergencies. For this hiker, the only way down will now be up. The guy bent over the patient is David Baumgartner.
This is a double black diamond trail, as the rating system implies. It's at the entrance to this trailhead, so they do rate them. A lot of people don't realize that.
We'll get to know David better in a bit. Now, he and his team have to pack the patient into what's called a screamer suit. This is a long line rescue. They're pulling that hurt hiker up to the helicopter for a safe and quick ride down. For a lot of these TRT folks, this mountain is both work and play. Believe me, climbing to the top of Camelback is hard enough. But if you've got the right mixture of guts, gear, and guidance, Camelback has even more daring adventures. You see that little crag of rock over my shoulder? It looks a little bit like a thumb. Locals call it the Praying Monk. Well, standing at the top of the Praying Monk is a thrill few people ever get to experience.
Take this knot, go 1, 2.
This is the first time I've ever done rope climbing, and I have a fear of heights for sure.
Rope!
So there's the fear of falling because they've never taken any kind of a fall. So the fear of pain and just the uncertainty of what they're supposed to do.
That space between each anchor, you're kind of unprotected for that space.
If you're afraid of heights and you don't understand how extremely strong those ropes are, it's scary.
So you go up and you're attaching protection as you climb up, but you have to reach that protection. You have to climb up to it.
First, I thought it was going to be pretty simple, but then as I started looking for footholds and hand grabs and realized there were a lot fewer of them than I thought there were in the first place, it was scary.
I think there's two fears that we're born with: loud noises and heights.
That's David Baumgartner, that's Daniel Warren, and Tupac Enrique. All three are part of the Phoenix Fire Technical Rescue Team. It's their day off, but they're on the mountain to show these 4 guys the ropes of rock climbing.
Climb on.
They've never climbed sheer rock, but they have climbed past the bad choices that landed them behind bars.
I'm here with my brothers, you know, guys that I spent time in Arizona prison with.
Kenny, myself, Levi, and Todd, we've all served time in prison, and so we've all spent time together behind bars.
They're getting the basics of rappelling and belaying by going up and down the massive lump of rock that most of us see as the camel's head on Camelback. At the top, a salute to friends still behind bars. 25 burpees on the camel's head in the hope that those inmates they've left behind will keep a pledge to stay in their fitness routines and out of trouble.
Fitness originated from me going to prison, but since I got incarcerated about 5 years ago, it has been the major turning point in my life after getting clean.
I guess it originally started off as just something to do to fill the time, but then it became something that really helped me to deal with the trauma, dehumanization, the stresses and anxieties of being imprisoned.
Put all that in there, both the lanyard, TC, and the rope.
Now, with David and Daniel as guides, it's time to dare the climb up the Praying Monk.
You know, I was hoping to get to the top of wherever we were climbing. For me, getting there was a challenge to begin with.
You know, you'll tell them, hey, relax, let go of the rock for a minute and sit back and look around and take a deep breath.
Well, when you make it to the top, you feel that sense of elation and relief knowing that you made it. And you were scared on the way. I was.
You just know that you did that, it's surreal up there, and it's peaceful.
I had to definitely overcome some fears, but it was wonderful. It was a beautiful experience. When you put your mind to something and you focus hard on it, and you push yourself towards a goal, you can reach that goal.
Okay, now that you've met the praying monk, have a look at the hiking nun. Seriously, we did not plan this. All right, I guess climbing to the top of Camelback really might get you closer to heaven. Arizona Highways Television is brought to you by Arizona Public Service and the Arizona Office of Tourism. East of the Superstitions, up the winding Apache Trail, is Canyon Lake, an oasis in the desert. Captain Jeff Grimm is an expert on the canyon.
I came on board and started piloting about 24 years ago.
He steers his family's Dolly steamboat through the colorful canyon walls year-round.
It was built in 1983. It's been refurbished a couple times. The paddle wheel and back, as much as I'd like to say it is what's driving it, is actually just for show.
The passengers don't seem to mind, including Tammy Brenner's dog, Buster.
He's a therapy dog. So he goes to hospitals and hospices and nursing homes. And so he's now relaxing. This is his turn to relax.
I'd like you to look at the far left-hand cave out of all these caves. You can see
Having
that.
toured this 10-mile-long lake for years, Jeff knows every nook and cranny, where to camp and where to see the wildlife.
We have the desert bighorn sheep, we have mule deer, white-tailed deer. One time we even seen a black bear here.
And when there aren't any animals in sight, he uses his imagination.
Look to our right, the skyline. You can see the profile today of Johann. At first, this profile may appear to be to you, be that of a beautiful little girl looking left up into the sky or an angel praying up into the heavens.
There is something about cruising these beautiful waters aboard the Dolly that you just can't take for granted.
This is really wow.
Yeah.
I was even telling my husband, I'm like, I didn't even know something like this is even in the United States.
Nigerian transplants Ijeoma and her husband Nubuisi are enjoying a rare break from their hectic careers in New Jersey.
We travel a lot and we've seen so many, and this is like breathtaking and relaxing.
It's like cut off from civilization, from all like the hustle and bustle of the city, which is what we're very accustomed to. It's like in a world of its own. It's perched somewhere in the wilderness, but it's a very beautiful world of its own.
It's why Captain Jeff loves his job aboard the Dolly, and it shows.
People say, how do you do this every day? And I say, you know, what better office would you want, you know?
Whether on the water or on the dry land, Arizona will take you to new heights and depths. You can go as fast or as slow as you want.
I like the slower paced ones because you get to look around and see the beautifulness of Lake Powell.
You can jump right in or have fun falling in. And every turn is full of surprises.
Thanks everyone so much for joining us. I'm Robin Sewell, and we'll see you on the next Arizona Highways.
Arizona Highways Television is brought to you by Arizona Public Service and the Arizona Office of Tourism.